Hi there guys, I'm Stuart from Marshall Music, and tonight on Stu Chats I have with me Mr. Ross van den Heever. He is a brilliant vocalist, brilliant guitar player, plays for Black Harbour, in my opinion, the premier blues rock outfit in South Africa. Oh. And he's good looking, tall, handsome, beard, dark clothing.
How's it going, man?
How's it? Thanks for being here.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, it's a pleasure.
It's been a while, or it's been a while coming, I think.
Yeah.
Been watching the show and been keen to be a part of it for a while.
Cool. Yeah, lekker. Thank you. So I always start off with kind of like, I like to get a bit of a background. What's your musical background?
I think I'm answering this question differently every time I'm in these kind of environments, because the band or my styling is blues based, but actually in my core I'm like a rocker, you know.
Okay.
So I grew up listening to like Soundgarden and Alice in Chains and the heavier, not like so much metal, but the heavier sort of rock and roll stuff, you know.
Yeah.
So I think that comes out in like our blues or my blues approach all the time. And just finding out that those bands were influenced by like these old artists. You know, if you go down the steps of rock and roll from now, obviously the roots lie within blues artists. But I mean, when you first discover that, it's like, it seems obvious now, like, oh yeah. But when you're a kid listening to rock and roll and then you've never heard of these artists, and then you find out that they influence like this massive body of work or art that you're interested in, it's just like mind-blowing. You know?
And you're right, it all kind of goes back to the first blues guys.
Yes.
From the Mississippi Delta.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. You know, and like the common reference is like the Robert Johnson one, because of the cool Crossroads story and the Faustian myth about like selling your soul and that kind of thing, which is, I mean, that mysticism and that eeriness is part and parcel of like
it's the
rock
coolest
culture,
thing ever.
You know? So you might say he was like the first like rock star, you know, in his own sense. But so I think that's what got me involved in, or so interested in the genre, was, besides the music having such an amazing appeal, was all these stories. That's actually, so I think that's played a big role in the way that we play and the way I write, and the fact that I have I'm really interested in literature, and I've always been a big reader. So there's a lot of content for you to write about in that. It doesn't have to be like, I can't pay the rent, blues, you know.
That cliche.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So
it was maybe deeper.
It was maybe just trying to find a way to do it with a little bit more sophistication and a little bit less of like the traditional sort of cheesy way that it's been done. Obviously we do that within tastefulness, and it's not like I want to reinvent the wheel.
Yeah, you're still paying respect to the blues.
Yeah, respect is what it's about. Yeah. So it's about breaking the rules, but with respect to the fact that it comes from this amazing body of art, like I said before, and that's kind of what the band has been about since we started it. Yeah.
Okay. And how long ago was that now?
So this month or next month, it's 3 years. Okay. So it's not that old. But the concept is a bit older. The concept is probably like 4, maybe 5 years old.
Okay.
But we only got it going 3 years ago. And it was a very different animal then to what it is now.
Okay, it's done.
Absolutely. And that's because it started out as, if I can put it as bluntly as this, a way for me to pay the rent. So I had to approach like corporates and restaurants and that, and we had a much more tame package
version,
sound, and like even the way we dressed and stuff was a lot more like user friendly, you know. And it was all deliberate, because I mean, it sounds weird to say it, but at the time, like I had to make some bucks. Like it was just one of those places that I was in, you know? And we all got to pay the rent and everything.
And there's nothing wrong with doing what you have to do to make money out of music.
Yeah,
you know?
absolutely. Yeah. Otherwise, I mean, I've been fortunate enough to be working in the music industry as well. But it's taken time to build up, as anything does, you know. And the beauty about where the band has gone is, as it's picked up and it's changed its shape and form, we've been able to experiment with our own sounds and different tones and bring in like elements of music that we might have veered from initially because it's too heavy, like we can't tune down, you know, for this thing. But now it's like we have a fan base who I think understand our sound more or less. So we have carte blanche at the shows, I think, and we can just go over it. That's what you want to do at the end of the day, I guess.
Yeah. All right. So before we talk about your songwriting, let's talk about when did you start playing guitar, and who are your influences, and are those influences showing in Black Harbour, and how?
Yeah. So I started playing guitar when I was about 12. So that's only about 3 years ago.
Your beard is very impressive for a 15-year-old. Do you just stuck it on?
Yeah, this is a fake beard.
Yeah.
It's obvious. Get the audience to think I'm a bit older. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, so without, I think I was about 12. You have a look there.
Sorry, no.
Purpelfontein Bart Olie. That's
right.
You know that advert.
Shameless plug.
I didn't even use that product. I should actually be punting somebody else.
Okay.
Who do I get my hair cut with? Freedom Hair.
Freedom Hair.
That's the one. Boyden, my man. Yeah. For the not so slick, sweaty look. But you'll be good. Anyway.
12.
Yeah, 12 years old. Actually wanted to be a singer, but I needed some way to write music. Yeah. So guitar seemed like the obvious choice for a kid and also a kid who's into rock music. It's like, in retrospect, I might have, picked up like piano or something instead as a songwriter. But just because of the music that I liked, the guitar seemed like the thing to do. And I became obsessed with this instrument. I mean, there's like a moment as a kid when you're playing this instrument and there's something clicks and you learn that riff and you're just like, oh my word, like I can't believe this has just happened, like this exists, And to quote Les Paul, like the more you know about the guitar, the more you realize you don't know. And it's like you have to just dig into this thing.
Go in deeper and deeper. And you'll never see the end.
No, we're never going to see the end of it. But that's the beauty about it, right?
Any musical
because
instrument.
You just keep doing it, keep working at it.
And then who were your early influences?
So I got into bands like Metallica, who's still one of my favorites of all time. And Heever. That was because a late cousin of mine, who was like a massive influence over me in terms of what I was listening to. He was like my guide, Don't listen to this rubbish. Listen to this, So he was introducing to me bands like Pantera, like I said, Metallica, Heever, those kind of things. And then from that, I started finding I was interested in like bands that they'd influenced. So again, like that comes up to like Alice in Chains and those kind of sounds. So I've had a few guitar heroes over the years, and musical tastes have changed like drastically.
Which is a good thing.
Yeah, there was a time when I was super obsessed with Opeth, which is way out, like progressive kind of stuff, And Michael Ackerfeld, I think, is still one of my favorite guitar players ever.
What a guitar player.
Just absolutely phenomenal, But then on the other side of the coin, it's maybe cliche, but I love Cobain's guitar style, even though like you can't compare those two, in terms of like virtuosity or whatever. But
his chord progressions were original and
great tone,
stuff.
I think a major thing for me,
massive influence,
I think a major thing for me in terms of guitar playing is feel and what it feels like. And
he played with conviction and heart.
Absolutely,
you could feel that.
Absolutely. So there's different sorts. Like within the Metallica thing, like Hetfield was always a better guitar player to me, just because I love the feel of the rhythm. It's just like those riffs just make sense. so I think my guitar playing was born out of like more of a rhythm feel, and it's only much later on that I started getting into like lead stuff or riffy
technical stuff.
When I was like 16 or so, I started listening to Lamb of God, and that changed a lot for me because I realized there's a lot of technicality with this instrument, you know, and like riffage and stuff, you know, and that started, okay, cool, like there's a whole other approach to this versus like grunge chords, like just chugging it out, you know. I think that's what triggered a lot of where my style comes from. So does that come out now so much? Maybe in certain ways.
In little
pieces, absolutely.
Yeah.
But in terms of tone, like, no, I think it's just I try to dial back like as much as I can, you know, just keep it as.
Okay, well, we'll
simple.
talk about that in a moment, your tone and your gear.
Yes, okay.
And now, what I always like to ask about your songwriting process. How do you write, or what's the process generally?
Generally speaking, I write from like a riff idea first. Normally, that's the way that I kind of force myself to write. But sometimes I write songs without any instruments. Like I'll just write the song, and then like that's why my phone is full of like these weird voice notes or something.
Voice notes of lyrics and riffs and
or just tunes.
Yeah.
So then
melodies,
I'll hear a melody and I'm trying to sing. I need to sing something out, like to, you know, to just capture like what I'm feeling. And that becomes more tricky because I think then you're diving into like your subconscious, you know, which is less of it's a bit more of an airy process than, okay, I've got a riff idea, I've got a lyrical idea, I'm going to try to structure it like this. When it's like just flowing, it's more difficult to capture.
Yeah.
You know, I also don't read or write music, so it would be great to be like a Bach and just like score everything that you're hearing in your head, you know. But I've got to find like a different way to do it. So I think it just comes out of wherever I'm feeling inspiration from, like right there. And just try to capture that feel and not tweak it too much, you know.
And then you'll go have your little home studio that you'll just bang down chords and lyrics. So you like,
I kind of
voice note all the then what will you take some lyrics and put that melody to it and record that on your phone?
So lyrics is like a super important process to me, because as I mentioned, I'm a little bit obsessive over like words and phrasing and using particular words. And I have like, I'll share like a secret. I have a signature word that I use in every single song. Like basically I've done it since I started writing when I was like 16.
Okay.
So
have you told people about this?
No.
Are you
well, some people know about it.
All right,
I'm not going to tell you what the word is.
Okay, how about this then? We're going to have a competition now. You've given me an idea. If you guys can find out, fans out there of Black Harbour, if you can tell me what the word is that is in every single Black Harbour song, you'll win 2 packets of strings of your choice from Marshall Music. How's that?
That sounds good. That sounds like people are going to lose. Challenge accepted. No, it's there. Okay. It's there, yeah.
So kind of, fans out there, come on. Let us know. You can answer. You can send your answers in the comments below, and we will pick the winner.
Rad.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
So why do you do that? Is it just
maybe OCD or something? It just kept like something just kept coming up, like an idea that I just couldn't get away from, and so eventually it just became like, I need to put this in now somewhere because I keep doing this. So it's like, it's almost like a signature, you know, and I'll find space for it in.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how long does the typical song take for you to write lyrically?
Lyrics is normally really fast.
Like quick. Okay.
But the process to actually get there is like, can be weeks.
Yeah.
You know.
And you're always tweaking until it actually goes down on tape. You constantly tweaking it.
Working with it. Yeah. But I'll normally, like, I've got a feel from something that I've written as a riff idea or musical idea, and then the lyrical idea will be kind of like, it's almost like it's obvious to what that song needs, you know?
Yeah.
So it doesn't feel as pressurized, besides for the fact that I want to do something that feels right to me, you know? So, and I mean, I've fiddled with lyrics from different kinds of themes. So like some people might write about politics, some people write about breakup, some, you know, or maybe a mix of all the in-betweens. For me, it's always been a cathartic process. So it's never been so personal that like I'm telling you exactly what happened, but it's never so vague that it's just up in the air.
That anyone can put any meaning to it.
I do prefer to have the lyrical interpretation be open, and it's always going to be like that.
Which is what all good poetry should be.
But even if you put something down as is, straightforward, there's still interpretation. People come from different backgrounds and they think about things differently, so there's no way that you can stop that. But the fact is that it's always a cathartic process for me. So it lyrically, it tends to deal with kind of darker themes. But as I'm getting older, I'm trying to put those themes across more like in a healthier way, as opposed to like, you know, this like angst and that you do when you're a kid or a teenager, listening to like this heavy music. That was
well, you are only 15, so
I forgot about that. I'm actually 27 this month.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So your angsty years are, you know.
Right behind me.
Yeah.
But
a lot of people blame bands that are like older now. Yeah, and they're not as cool as they used to be. Well, of course they're not. They're older, chilled, more
they're mature,
less
songwriters.
angsty.
That's. I mean, I understand where all those things come from, like this chaos in music and the environments that you're in and lifestyle and that. But you definitely get to a place where you want to make up your mind about who you are and what it is that you're doing, you know. And I don't want to write music that leaves the listener like feeling bad, or feeling. I would want
feeling weird.
I would want at least like some sort of cathartic process to come out of listening to my music as well. You know.
Well, that's the ultimate goal.
You know. So if there's something that's bugged you in the day or whatever, you know, or if you're feeling good as well. I mean, there's different ways that can happen. You just allow yourself to be there for that time and get something out of your system, you know.
Talking about getting out of your system, what system are you using guitar-wise?
So I use a few guitars. My main one is the Yamaha Revstar.
Which one?
The 720B. So they do a whole bunch of these now. So with the first batch or whatever that they released, or the first series of the Yamahas they did, the 720B, which has a Bigsby on it, and it has like Filtertron-esque kind of pickups, the humbuckers, but like low output,
super low,
a Gretschy sort of world. So to me, it sounds kind of like a cross between a Les Paul and a Gretsch or a Telly or something.
That's rad.
It's super in that rad. It's in that like sort of ballpark. So that's my main guy. But then I have a Fender Strat, a Mexican one.
Of course you do.
You know, it's one of those instruments.
You've got to have one.
A Telly as well. I've had a couple of hollow bodies, but I don't know, there's something about...
Sure, I saw you playing a Tokai as well.
I've never used the Tokai as my own gear, but I've like done a couple of demos and that on some Tokai guitars. And then in the arsenal as well, now I have a Gibson Studio. Nice. I actually sent you a photo of it the other day.
Yes,
So I'm actually just borrowing it, I'll be honest, but I need one now.
You should.
So, So anyway.
Well, that's, I mean, the Revstar, Telly, Strat.
So I have yet to find a hollow body that. I feel like I need a hollow body that fits. That really fits. Like I've had a few Ibanez like from the AS series, which are cool. and I've played some amazing, like the Epiphone Casino, for example. It's like it seems like a crazy guitar. I've never actually, played on one. I've played similar.
Super cool, but just watch the feedback.
Yeah, well, that's kind of that's the ballpark that I'm gonna be keen on it for,
Yeah, but it's super feedback.
Yeah. So those guys would have P90s, yeah?
Yeah.
The Casino's P90s versus the other one, I can't remember what it is, which has the humbuckers.
The dot.
Yeah.
Which is much easier to control feedback-wise because it's got that center block.
Yeah.
But the Casino is cool.
It's a cool guitar. Gary Clark Jr. plays one of those,
So cool.
which is what introduced me to it. Yeah, I'm a massive fan of him, by the way.
Oh,
So
yeah.
talk about guitar
He's
influence,
amazing.
but again, he's not a flashy guitarist, although he puts out, some of the solo vibes and stuff. He's just got a lot of taste and soul. That's the thing.
Dude.
The voice, the tone. Watching those guys live, there's a Warner Brothers live studio thing that is phenomenal, and just watching how the guys kind of feed off of each other's energy, and it just seems like it's just right, and
Amazing.
that's what I love in music.
Have you seen Marcus King?
Yeah.
Band?
I've seen it coming up.
Okay, yeah.
And there's
He's
a couple
another
notables.
guy.
Yeah.
Oh, soul.
Yeah.
Yo.
There's a few. I think this blues revival kind of thing is
it's
there all
happening.
the time. Yeah. There's a few amazing guys that have become really prominent artists in the last few years. Like Derek Trucks is another one.
Yeah.
And our own Mr. Petlansky is up there.
Of course.
And he's up there with one of my favorite artists, not just South African artists, he's way up there for me as well. Just in terms of musicality.
World class. Absolutely world class.
So
And then amp-wise?
I use exclusively a Marshall Origin 50, which is a new series.
Yeah.
So the guys from Marshall Amplification SA were nice enough to hand me one of those to utilize.
Very nice.
I've been waiting for this thing forever because it's based off of a JTM 45 essentially.
Yes.
It's like a blues breaker or a plexi,
Yeah.
but it doesn't cost
A
a
million.
million. Yeah. So your average, your average working musician can probably save up and get one.
Yeah.
You get a cool valve amp. I know we're veering from the valve world, and there's the digital world is phenomenal at the moment. There's no denying it.
Yeah.
In terms of practicality and live
But it'll
use,
never ever sound as good as a real amp.
well, it's never going to be a real amp. And guitar players, or at least I definitely have a conservative nature with regard to the instrument. There's a reason why guitars are still built to try to emulate what they were doing in 1959, because there's just something about it that works and just feels right.
Yeah.
So this amp just works. It just sounds good, and it's got a couple modern features which a player like myself would utilize. So, for example, it's got an effects loop. Yeah. So you can just run the
Just
board
rad,
through that.
yeah.
I don't run. I just run into the effect, everything into effects loop, and then
Okay.
just put the guitar straight in the front.
Okay.
And that's as far as amps go, that's
And
about it.
effects-wise, are you using any pedals?
Yeah. So Vox Wah,
Yep, the best.
yeah, Alter Ego delay.
Nice.
I've got sometimes I use a blues driver. I've got a clean boost, the MXR clean boost on there. I've got an OC3 octave.
Nice.
What else have I got on there? I've got a looper RC3, which I mostly use for acoustic stuff.
Okay.
Or actually exclusively used for acoustic stuff. That's basically my rig. Yeah, but I just run all of that through the back, through the effects loop, and then plug the guitar straight in the front, just to try to get the best signal I can. With the Yamaha that I've got, I also had some modifications done to it because, so for example, it's got a dry switch. Well, they call it a dry switch. It's kind of like a quill tap.
Yeah.
So I had that discarded. It's
Taken
an
out.
ornament now.
Just bypassed.
And it just goes straight from the volume to the pickups. And
It makes a big difference, eh?
Huge difference.
Yeah.
I also put a treble bleed in it.
Nice.
Just so, because I work the volume a lot.
Grant do it for you.
Grant for sure, yeah.
Yeah.
Grant did all the work for me. He also sprayed the guitar black. So I actually got the 720 in ash grey.
Yeah.
And then
I like ash grey.
So do I. You know,
no.
Anton from Yamaha was like, "What have you done to the guitar?" I was like, "It's Black Harbour." So, and he's like, "Yeah," and then it turns out they released one that looks exactly the same anyway. So I was like, I had foresight. The guys from Yamaha like consulted me about this, so we just sprayed it black. You know,
why not?
If you see a red door, what do?
Paint it black.
Exactly, or a grey door. You know,
Matches your heart.
Yes. It's warm though. It's warm. So. A few modifications done to the guitar, but I mean they're almost like unmodifications, if you know what I mean. It just kind of made it more simple.
Yeah.
I like to crank the amp a bit, just to get it to break up and get a nice drivey sort of tone, and then I work the volume mostly.
Do you have the amp facing like away from?
Yes. Yeah. So in a live environment, I never use monitors for the amp. So I'll face the cab. So I've got a head and cab version.
Yeah.
The 50-watt head. So I'll flip the cab around and just face it at a wall or something. Because then you get like a kind of natural reverb feel as well. And then just crank it up. And it just brings out the life of the amp, and it just feels great. And then it does have a few sort of modern features which the modern guitarist can utilize. So I mentioned obviously the effects loop, but it also has an attenuator on it.
Oh, cool! That's like.
So if you do need to play it like, you know, softer volumes, you have that ability.
Yeah. And even if you just put the attenuator on like 4 or 5 dB, it makes a huge difference.
Absolutely.
You can crank them loads more. Yeah.
And then it's also got a DI out.
Okay.
So
you're not miking up.
I do mic it up. I do mic it up, absolutely. But what I've done with the DI, especially in bigger environments like at festivals, is I run 2 lines. So I run the microphone to the front of house, and then I run the DI as well. And then I have essentially 2 different signals that I EQ slightly differently, which just makes the guitar like really fat, especially 100%. At a big festival. So although it's a DI signal and you're not getting that breath, you know, from the mic, you're still getting like this bigger sort of feel, especially for the trio. It just makes a huge difference. You just add some meat behind the instrument, you know. But I mean, for clubs and stuff, like microphone, just crank it up. It's, you know, if you need more than that, then you're probably going deaf. So.
And now plans for Black Harbour this year? What's happening?
We were planning to go back to Italy, so I did a short tour in Jan, just acoustic. Kevin Hughes and I, 4 shows.
He's living there now.
Yeah, he lives there now. Yeah. Lucky. So him and I played 4 shows in Italy, just to get used to the feel, and we had a couple of meetings in that. We were going to go back Augustish, but because of this world epidemic scare with those plans on hold for now. So that was a big thing. But having said that, we've got a few theatre shows coming up, club shows as per usual, and then some new music which is coming out. So there's a new music video that's coming out really soon, and a new EP that's coming out as well. So that's like the short to medium term of the year.
Okay. How can people get hold of you? How can people get hold of your music? Give us all the details for that.
So we're available. People can get in touch with us on all the major platforms. So your Facebooks.
What's your Facebook thing called?
Our Facebook thingy is Black Harbour SA.
Black Harbour SA.
Yeah, with a U, like the English spelling.
Instagram
is Black Harbour Blues.
Black Harbour Blues.
Our website, which is the easiest one, is www.blackharbourblues.com.
That's nice
and that will give you.
We'll put those in the links in the description.
Yeah, below. And that will give you links to everything. So Spotify, Deezer, Apple, wherever you are. We are also part of a channel, like a new online channel called Viva Nation. You got to subscribe to that, but it's cool. There's great content on there as well. So there's like a few interviews with us and stuff like that, and music video and whatever.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Rad. Guys, check out Black Harbour. Amazing band. Loin quivering vocals from this man. Deep, beautiful, dulcet tones.
Thank you, sir. I'm blushing.
We've run out of time. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you so much
all
for
the
having
best.
me. Yeah, awesome.
Cool. That's all for now, guys, and we'll see you next time. Cheers.